killing the mic just like I ran the jewels. And y'all gonna get done up front, knowing that kid with an attitude. But you can't really blame this motherfucker for what he had to do. I'm about that cash flipping, I'm getting it on and off the market. Not about that VIP, not me, not never been a fan of carpets. All about that RIPs, but all of my Jesus gone departed. All about that business, what I started, I'm about that.
Top down the night, you're not ready. We ride, we're about that. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night. Top down the night, you're not ready. We ride, we're about that. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night.
Nothing about it, want a man I can bring the drama. But it ain't by chance, I'm fucking rapping, you the real water problem. Made a little cash in the back end, but still rapping, they call me starving. Yeah, y'all ain't gonna ask who the man is, hope I'm gonna be like, beg your pardon. I'm about that.
Top down the night, you're not ready. We ride, we're about that. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night. Top down the night, you're not ready. We ride, we're about that. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night.
And welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the YSN Power Hour. DJ Yoakley with you, and we got Ty Bartell, Eric Bailey, Mike McKenzie, Quinn Pushkar, along with Jeff Bezos, and also my good friend out in the middle of nowhere, Mr. Paul Munson. Guys, how are we today?
Doing good.
Love it. You know what today is? Anybody got any ideas?
National Hot Dog Day.
Son of a biscuit. Yes, it is National Hot Dog Day. EB, you got it. So how do you guys, I mean, all you Kobayashis and Joey Chestnuts out there, how do you like your hot dog served up? What's on it whenever you ask for it? Ty, let's start with you.
Mine's actually a pretty special and different one. So you gotta get all beef hot dogs. It's all beef. Nothing ever other than all beef. Get yourself a nice piece of bacon. You melt some cheese on that hot dog and you put some barbecue sauce on it. Perfect.
Is there a name for that dog?
I don't even know what the name for that dog is. I don't know how I came across that dog, but that is my go-to anytime I want to make a dog.
Wow, that's a very interesting one. That's off the beaten path. All right, EB, what do you got?
Not anything nearly as sophisticated as that. I mean, I'm pretty simple. I'll just go ketchup, mustard. If I get fancy, I'll go chili cheese.
Okay, so you're flying the flag because that's an American dog. That's straight up like US of A if I'm asking for a hot dog. Michael, where are you at on a hot dog?
Literally nothing. I'm straight plain. I am Mr. Plain with everything.
McNuggies is going all naked.
Yes.
Naked hot dog. All right, the Twin Towers down in the middle there with Michael in between. Quinn, what do you got on your hot dog?
Chili cheese. That's it. It's chili and cheese.
All right, Jeff?
I'll kill them.
We'll go deep fried hot dog with toasted bun, but with chili and cheese on it.
A deep fried hot dog?
Yeah, Quickest does it for 50 cents every Saturday, so pretty much another routine there.
Wow, that's impressive. All right, we're going to go to – I'm almost afraid of this one because I feel like there's going to be some toppings on this. Paul, what do you got?
Not as crazy as you'd expect. It depends on how I feel. It's either going to be one of two ways. Either ketchup and mustard and relish or just regular chili. Throw some chili on there and, I mean, nothing else and go to town.
No cheese?
Nah.
Not a cheese guy.
Nope.
Mine is, and this is going to be real weird, and I discovered this only through, I don't know how you guys are with your plates at picnics, but I don't mind when mine touch, if I have a hot dog and like macaroni and cheese, whatever, if they touch each other, fine. They're all going to the same place. I'm good with it. My wife has to have everything compartmentalized. So I found that naturally, Frank and beans go very well together growing up in the double wide of East Palestine. And now I just put baked beans on my hot dog and scarf it down that way. So I call it the Dodger dog. I don't know why. I know that's not what a Dodger dog is. But when I specifically ask my wife, I say, I want a Dodger dog. That's how it comes. It comes with hot dog and baked beans. So that's the way I roll here in the good old Tree City, USA. Guys, we got some sports to talk about. First, we're going to talk about the Bridgestone. This is being reported all over the place by WFMJ, that I saw it as well from Dana Balish. The Bridgestone Senior Players Championship next month in August is being played without fans. Now, typically, we wouldn't lead off the show with this. However, That being said, I think we're already starting to look towards the next month or so, which means we're looking towards football. And if we're seeing that the Bridgestone golf is being played without fans, what does this bode for the future of fall sports that are in that same time frame? Ty, we'll start with you.
And this is kind of hinting on what I said yesterday about like one of my worries is like we're gonna put in all these mandates and all these rules for fans and the thing, and I worry that it's going to be all for naught. And at the end of the day, we're just not going to have any fans in attendance if we have any sports at all. I understand that life at some point needs to move on, but you have to you want these players to play their senior year. You want these players to play as much as they can because this is their once in a lifetime experience throughout high school and some for college. But you also have to take into account the safety of the fans and the safety of the players. But like we said yesterday too about like the safety of the players, but it seems more like they're worried about lining their pockets with money. So I don't think golf is as big of a draw though as football. So that's where I'm kind of seeing a divide there, where it's like you might be able to get away with not having fans at the Bridgestone Golf, but you might, as far as football is concerned, you might not be able. That's a big draw, and as far as money is concerned for other schools.
EB, are you starting to really see the game plan for the state of Ohio here as we don't have any fans for the Bridgestone Classic, the Seniors Classic?
I mean, I'm kind of with Ty on this. I think golf is the easier one to do of any of the sports, really. So, and golf, I don't think it has I'm assuming it doesn't have a huge outcome with the fans or not having fans because it's a quiet sport. Now, when it comes to something like football, basketball, volleyball, where there's a little more fan interaction, even baseball, and you play off the crowd noise and everything else, then if it was something like that where they said no fans, and football or anything like that, then I would probably start to be like, okay, this is going to be the new norm. Like golf, I can kind of see it's an easier control, and it's not going to make that much of a difference.
Let me rephrase this because I think I put this in a bad light. This question: do you feel with golf having no fans that football will be hard to be played because we're not seeing any advancements in the sport of golf yet? I guess that's the better way. Do you see where I'm going?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe I don't think it's going to affect football because to me you're kind of comparing apples and oranges. Like two different kinds of sports, two different kinds of mentality. Football, part of it is you need the fans, and football, the fans drive the revenue. Yes, and the Bridgestone, yes, fans are going to create revenue, but it's not as drastic as it would be for football in my eyes.
All right, Michael, are you still there or no? You're blacked out there. So we're gonna skip off to Quinn while Mike handles his business.
Oh, you want me to go first?
Yeah,
okay.
go ahead, Jeff.
All right. Throw you a curveball.
Your show, Quinn.
Always.
It's definitely easier for golf because being that senior championship series, Richland's already sponsored it, so they've already put money into it. Mm-hmm. Football wise, you don't get as much. You get sponsors, but not as much as like how much Bridgestone put into it, how much money Bridgestone's actually given to golf. But football, you get all different kind of sponsors, so I think it hurts football more. I don't think we will see fans in football in any big sporting event for the rest of the year. I think.
Quinn?
Yeah, I should have went before Jeff. He just took the words out of my mouth.
Shocker.
Hi, Michael.
Hello, Quinn.
But no, I agree. I mean, I agree with Jeff. When it comes down to the money aspect of it, I mean, Bridgestone, it's golf anyway. I don't know if you necessarily need fans for it, but I think it'll be okay. They'll survive.
Interesting. I might be jumping off the Blue Jays wagon here, guys. Michael Page chiming in, say Pennsylvania denied the Blue Jays.
I don't know if I'm right on this, but I thought I read an absolutely contradictory article that PNC will be taking in Toronto.
So we got some.
I'm not
100%
sure on that.
Investigating here during the show.
Here,
so
I might go away for a second to try to do that investigation here.
So there goes Michael. He gone. Paul, your thoughts on the Bridgestone Seniors Players Championship being played without fans next month?
The one thing that nobody has said, which I was glad, so I could keep my train of thought going on, is that it's harder to control the fans at a golf outing. And what I mean by that is you've got this huge golf course, and those fans just run back and forth from hole to hole, and now they're interacting and intermingling with each other at all these different holes, to where, like a sporting event, you could sit them in seats, you could put them on the bleachers, you can put them in certain sections and say, you stay over here and you stay over there. Not saying that those people aren't going to like walk around or something, but it's easier to say, this is your section, please stay here for your safety, and we can control that. Where a golf outing is, as soon as you walk through the gates, they could care less where you go, as long as you don't cross that rope and get on the course and get hit, on the fairway or something. But for the most part, those people can go anywhere they want, and I think that's what they're concerned with, is those people they're not going to definitely maintain that social distancing of 6 feet. They're going to go wherever they want, hang out with whoever they want, and be shoulder to shoulder with people around the greens and stuff, where I think, like I said, in other sports, you can kind of control that a little better. You can't do that in golf.
Breaking news as I look to Twitter, according to Richard Southern, is at Richard680 News. 12 seconds ago, the Pennsylvania Department of Health will not allow the Blue Jays to play home games in Pittsburgh this season, according to AP reports. Okay. So when you look at this, first off, go to hell, Blue Jays. Secondly, not really. I'm still a Pittsburgh Blue Jays fan, but I will say this: there's an opportunity here that Pennsylvania is, again, like, they've been one of those states that they have not let a whole lot happen. They're still going to allow their high school football as it is right now, as it stands, but you're not going to allow a professional team into your stadium, and I would love to see the reasoning behind this. So this is a topic that's evolving as we have it right now.
And I just looked it up. ESPN got a report from AT&T Sportsnet that the Blue Jays were expected to play at PNC. That came in earlier this morning. So I don't know what changed between 10 a.m. this morning to right now. So
I
that's interesting.
If I could chime in real quick, what I got to think is they're going to have the Pirates there, and they're only going to play certain teams, and that's what they've already said. You're going to play within your division, so they're going to have them playing their divisional teams. And now, if you bring in a whole new influx of guys who are playing a whole different division of teams, so now you're looking at guys who can get infected. When Toronto goes to play, I mean, off the top of my head, who's in their division?
The Yankees.
Orioles.
Okay, so New York, Baltimore. They're traveling to those cities where the Pirates might not be traveling to those cities, and now they're coming back into Pittsburgh, and they can now infect the Pirates and anybody else. So I think they're trying to say, hey, listen, let's try to keep our infection rate lower here and keep our own team here.
Stupid.
Toronto, sorry for that, but you go find somewhere else to play.
Well, this is stupid because you're sending the Penguins to Toronto. You know what I mean? It's the same thing on the other side. It's just flipped over. And you can say all you want that, okay, Canada's numbers aren't the same as the USA. I get that. I understand that. But realistically speaking, this is going to be there's going to be a bubble around PNC Park. And you're only allowing one side to come in and one side to go out. I see your point, Paul. The more people you invite into your dojo, the better opportunity or bigger risk there is. However, what do they do now? Where do the Blue Jays play? Because now they're going to be a permanent road team as it stands, because you're 2 days, 48 hours away from the start of the season, and here we are. The Blue Jays are without. You're down to 29 teams in baseball.
I got to think. Yeah, I'll let you go, Ty.
Okay. I feel like, you got to go for just a AAA or a AA park at that point. You need to just get into some sort of baseball field at that point just to play. I mean, some of those things will be suitable. I mean, if there's no fans anyway, I mean, those fields are suitable to play. You're
exactly.
just going to go triple or AA park and just play like that.
There's one in Buffalo right now that is suitable,
Buffalo.
But the players insist on playing a major league park, and I'll be honest, I understand you want to play regardless, but if I have my choice, I'm playing in a major league ballpark.
I mean, even if you're not going to have fans, I would be with that, DJ. I want to play in a major league ballpark. But Buffalo and Dudine, you're at a doomsday scenario. You cannot find a stadium. Let's hope Toronto's opening day is on the road, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't know their schedule. If they're at home for opening day and they don't have a place to play, I don't know where they're going to go. I think you have to go to a AAA or AA park. I'm going to agree with Ty on that one. But another thing to add to bringing other teams in here, I have to see it's hard to imagine that not Buffalo, Toronto and Pittsburgh are going to have a couple of days where they're both playing home games. So you have 4 teams in this Pittsburgh bubble. That's a lot of people to keep safe. That's a lot of more protocols to follow. I mean, the protocols are in place. They've been working, but there's too many players involved if you've got 4 teams staying in the same bubble, even if you're staggering the start times.
There's 2 dates that I read that there are problems. One of them is July 29th, and there's another one down the road. Otherwise, Pittsburgh and Toronto's schedules meshed perfectly, and which is why Pittsburgh was a perfect destination for the Toronto Blue Jays. And now that you don't have that, you'll have schedule conflicts anywhere you go, unless they can somehow find a way to find a home that someone takes them in on 48 hours notice. Now, Buffalo is going to be the first one that everybody talks about, but I will say this too. It wasn't Pittsburgh that rejected this. This was the Pennsylvania Department of Health. This is what worries me, is the fact that you have the state controlling similar situation to what we have in the state of Ohio and the OHSAA. You have 2 parties that are not communicating well with each other, and it's apparent
they're not
now.
Communicating at all.
So we don't know that. It just sounds like they're on different pages. The same way that Eric and a lot of times Billy Mack will show and say, listen, nobody's making a decision or nobody's talking to one another and bringing the opportunities to the table, the bright side, the dark side, all that. This is a bad scenario for baseball. This is a bad scenario because now that's going to make people think, well, wait a minute, why are we not allowed to let another team in? It's coming either way. I mean, the reality is you're never going to have those 2 teams other than maybe twice in the season, and you'll figure that out. Those odds are a lot better than anywhere else to have 4 teams in the same bubble. And that's my thing. That doesn't change at all. The protocols don't change. The sanitizing doesn't change. The downside to this is minimal, and quite honestly, it pisses me off because the opportunity is great, and it couldn't be. You're in the best ballpark in America, and here, what was that? Sniper. There's opportunity to be had, and again, Major League Baseball craps the bed. EB, you got anything?
I mean, I guess my only thing is that sort of like, isn't some of this on the MLB? Like, they should have had some sort of backup plan, or I don't know, man. Like, how you're a multi-billion-dollar organization. How do you not have a plan in place? Like, you knew this was Canada was not gonna like let this happen, or you knew that there was a potential of it to happen. So, how do you not have something set up? I get it. Look, MLB players, yes, they want to play in the park, but this isn't a typical year for us either. So take what you can get. If you got to go AAA, AA, you do it just for the sake of 30 games that you're going to call your home, your quote unquote your home base or home field. So a lot of this is all on MLB, and I guess the story of it's been Manfred's whole MO this whole year. Like he didn't want to put anything together, and now he's going to have to figure something out in the next 48 hours.
I guess, Mike, the bigger question here, guys, is who forgot to talk to the Pennsylvania Department of Health? You know what I mean? That's like saying you're going to the prom and you forgot to get a date. I'm headed there. Oh, wait a minute. I can't go because I got nobody to go with. So,
or you didn't buy a ticket to prom.
I have to buy tickets now?
I got to did the city of Toronto say no? Like, did Canada just say that for Toronto?
The Canadian government said they weren't going to allow Toronto to play in Toronto, which
why can't they go to Montreal?
Does
Isn't
Montreal
that
have
the different side of the country?
Have a stadium there?
No, they tore that down.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought they tore the Montreal Stadium down, if I wasn't mistaken on that one.
Well, and the other thing is, if they're not letting them play in Toronto, they're not going to let them play in Montreal.
Play somewhere else? Exactly.
The only reason I can say they wouldn't let them play in Toronto is because they already got the hockey bubble there, but I think that makes it even stupider that they're kicking them out of Toronto.
Well, I think that that has something to do with it, that they want to go all in on hockey. They also want to minimize the Americans that are crossing the border into Canada. So
How does that feel? Like if I was Toronto, I'd feel like that's a giant kick in the nuts for me being like the Blue Jays. They're going to have hockey. Like, I feel like that should be a giant.
The whole hockey thing is like the NHL is having them tested before they go to the hub cities.
Why can't you do that for the Blue Jays?
I understand that, but if they do it for Toronto and then they're moving around, they're not in just one big bubble like all the NHL teams will be.
Yeah.
In that hub city and in that bubble.
I gotta agree with you too, DJ, on that. I don't think it's necessarily it's because they don't want the Blue Jays there. They don't want those away teams crossing the border playing the Blue Jays for their home games. I think it's more of controlling the American teams from coming over the border.
which is, Ty, I think that's the number one reason. I really do believe that, but I also think that that's the number one reason that the Pennsylvania Department of Health is going to say. But the problem is, you're already there. Like, you're already doing it. So what's the deal? Like, these are the same guys, and we saw the tests come through, and there was minimal positive tests in comparison to the pandemic that for the rest of the country. So, to quote one of the ESPN articles that I read earlier today, the only way that this goes down, that baseball falls from this, is because a couple of guys get too rowdy at night on the road and end up with a pandemic, bringing in the coronavirus via a third party, if you will. So when you look at that, this is a really dumb decision by the Penn. I mean, think of the money that is lost in Pittsburgh, the opportunity lost in Pittsburgh, that you're not going to have those 25 to 50, I would say, probably people that they're bringing with them, being able to bring business into the city of Pittsburgh, being able to bring opportunity and new fans into not only the game of baseball, but to Pittsburgh, where we've seen, we talked about it on Running Point today, we've seen that Pittsburgh will follow someone who is a contender. And you don't necessarily have to be a World Series contender as much as you have to be just a contender in the division. And believe me, the Blue Jays are young, they're exciting, and this would be a big thing for the city of Pittsburgh, and especially this area regionally, even though you can't go to the ballpark.
And correct me if I'm wrong, because I know we're crossing sports here, but if the NBA is able to have 22 teams in that bubble down in Florida and there's not one positive test on those 22 teams, I don't understand how you can't just have two baseball teams in the same bubble and, you can't do the same protocol and just keep everyone safe that way either.
Yeah, I'm with
Well,
you.
the bubble's different, though, because
You don't travel in
the
the bubble.
bubble, you're not traveling. That's right. All those teams are stationed in one spot, and they're not leaving the county. They're not leaving the city, whereas you're having Toronto go to Baltimore. And now, after a 3-game series, they're coming back to Pittsburgh. So who says that one of those guys didn't go out to a restaurant and catch it? Now they bring it back there. They infect their team. Now they infect Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh leaves, and they go to Cincinnati. Now they've infected Cincinnati. I mean, I know that sounds crazy. I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I don't blame Pennsylvania for doing it. I mean, they're saying, listen, we need to limit the amount right now. Stop it. And honestly, if you want to play baseball, Toronto, suck it up. Be big boys. Go play in some AAA stadium. Who cares that there's not leather cushiony seats in the dugouts or in the clubhouse and stuff? You want to play baseball that bad? It's 30 games. It's half your season. Go play in a minor league park and deal with it.
Could you get in this situation? Could you play in the Field of Dreams? Could you do that? Or whatever
No,
it was?
I mean, you could, I guess. I don't see why. But it has to have major league dimensions. You can't hit into a cornfield.
Yeah, but they play a game there anyway, don't they, usually? At least once a year.
I thought they were starting something this year.
Yeah, it's supposed to start
Couldn't they
this
just
year.
play there if they have to?
And it got canceled. So they're not going to play 30 games if they won't play one.
Yeah.
What about Puerto Rico?
Jesus,
I-
man, you just set them across the window. What about Russia?
Nobody cares about
Yeah. Well, why don't we just go play in Mexico?
I speak on behalf of Bob Scene
Let's go
Clark.
play in
Blue Jays,
China.
we talked about it yesterday. Let's go. Bob Scene Blue Jays. This is the time. This is the time. Let's get the BCBJ out and let's have Vladdy hitting bombs over the YSN in left field. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm
Bubba Chet
sitting.
ripped the doubles in left center.
Yeah,
They
that's
already have something called that, though.
They got a better shot being out there at Eastwood Field.
Well, according to you, it doesn't matter where they play. They can suck it up for 30 games. So
they're
I
not
would
playing
be
at
all
Bob City
about
Park, though.
on YSN. I would be all about Andrew Fallett being the scoreboard guy. I would announce the games, and you'd have Red Baker that's able to have all over the MLB Network. Right. I mean, that's just. I would love it. I think it'd be fair. It's far fetched, but let's be honest.
Gentlemen, get off the line.
Mr. Guerrero, no stretching in front of the dugout.
Yeah.
So, funny enough, I mean, this was breaking news, so hopefully somebody got some information out of it. It pisses me off, quite frankly. I was all in on the Blue Jays, and now I've got to go. I'm still going to take the shirt, the Pittsburgh Blue Jays shirt I ordered this morning. I'm all about it, so that'll be a novelty now. But it kind of leads us into our next topic, I guess. I mean, Governor DeWine announcing that, quote, what we all do over the next several weeks, unquote, will determine if we have sports this fall. Guys, we talked about it before, and I think we're seeing more of a reality. We kind of already addressed it, but I want to get the official takes on it. If we're all in on this, what we all do over the next several weeks thing, what happens if everybody buys in and then we still have it pulled from underneath our feet, the rug? I'm not buying it. I still think that the other shoe is going to fall. I still think that they're going – I mean, there's so much pessimism right now around fall sports. We talked yesterday, and we'll talk again about the proposal that was set forth by the football coaches of Ohio. Do you feel like we're fighting a losing battle at this point? You feel like me, where you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop? Let's start down at the bottom. Jeff, lead us off.
I would say, yeah. At this point, it looks like we're on an uphill battle to even try to have sports in general, with the risk of a kid getting it at one point, because this talk about like football alone is not a very good social distance sport. Baseball is, volleyball is kind of is. I think if we all buy in. Could it work? We don't know. Nope.
Do you feel like there's an invisible, there's no numbers, there's no data, right, to prove this? And I feel like a lot of us have been lied to the entire time about the data in the first place. So what is that number? I think I'd be more comfortable if there was a number that we were all pointing to, and then if we got to that number, we got thumbs up, and if we don't, thumbs down. I mean, it's like playing without a scoreboard. You just don't know. Is there everybody a winner, or is everybody a loser? Mike?
Now, I think that I'm not waiting for the other shoe to drop. I think that there will be football this fall. There's a growing belief within people playing football at the college level, at least. They're preparing for 35% capacity in stadiums. High school level, they're all training as though they're going to have a football season, and there seems to be the growing belief that there will be a football season. Now, I really want to know what number or what we have to get to guarantee fall sports. But I think that there's a growing belief that there will be sports as long as this mask mandate that's coming into play here is effective enough. And a promising study I saw from the CDC, and now I know nobody trusts the CDC anymore, but they have conducted a study that said their asymptomatic people are more likely to not actually spread the virus in itself. And a lot of these athletes that are getting it are asymptomatic. So not to say it won't get spread, but I don't think there's as likely of a spread as people think if somebody gets it and is asymptomatic and doesn't know going into a Thursday practice.
EB, what's your take?
I'm with Mike, man. I'm kind of more optimistic than I am pessimistic. I think it's an uphill battle. I think there's a lot of things we're working through, and even DeWine said today, what the Football Coaches Association sent to him, they're reviewing it. He likes what he sees. There's some adjustments that he'd like to see made, and then when you go down to the numbers, Ohio's infection rate's like 6%, and the CDC says anything 5% or less is nothing. Obviously, it's of a concern, but it's not a major concern. So we're right there. And I think a lot of this is, everyone knew the numbers were going to jump in the next couple of weeks after the 4th of July. So, as we start to trend downward, and I think we will, and, whatever, this mask thing, take it how you want it, take it with a grain of salt, love it, hate it. It is what it is, just deal with it. And if it means we get sports, then we'll do it. But optimistically, I think we will have something. It's just going to be – we're going to have some more hoops to jump through. We're going to have to figure some things out as far as what happens with fans, bands, cheerleaders, the whole 9 yards that make a Friday night an actual Friday night. We'll lose some of that stuff. But when it's all said and done, I think we will have Friday nights.
Interesting enough. Quinn, we'll kick it back to you before we go to Paul.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, I don't know what to believe. Like, I mean, through AAU, I've seen where everybody has to wear masks, and like it seems like it's the same as back here where it's optional if you want to wear one or not, at least until this most recent stuff. So like I don't know what to believe. I want to believe that football will happen and all that will happen, but I don't know.
Paul?
I want to see it, obviously. I'd like to think that all these different mandates that he's trying to enforce is leaning towards we will have it. The bad thing is that all these decisions, basically, I know he's got other people he listens to, but it comes down to one guy, and it's the guy who was on TV about an hour ago. The governor can open and shut things as quickly as he wants to, and he's trying to do these things, and he keeps telling us. The bad thing is, I think he's like dangling the carrot for everybody.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, everybody, if you do this, we're going to be good. But if you don't, guess what? We're going to shut things down again. And I think that we're doing enough that we need to. Again, the numbers, and that's a whole nother topic of the story. I don't believe these numbers. The numbers are so skewed that if you really dive into where these numbers are coming from, the odds of any of us getting it is less than 1%. So it's terrible that they're blowing these numbers out to scare people. They're scaring people. And if they scare people into doing what they want them to do and we get football, then so be it, and other sports in the fall. And I think they're way past the date of flipping, because some people are still trying to talk about flipping spring and fall. And I just don't think that's going to work, because you're getting way past the date of getting any of those kids ready to do that. So it's either going to be an all or nothing kind of thing. And if wearing a mask here come tomorrow when you leave your house is one of the things we have to do, then so be it.
Ty, put a bow on it.
It's what I've always been saying especially like yesterday, what I said about just being worried about how this is going to be all for naught. And I still feel like that, just because you're counting on everyone to follow this rule of wear a mask. And I think the simple fact of the matter is it's not going to happen. Mandate does not mean law, and you don't have to wear a mask. It's more of like, here's a recommendation or fine, but there's plenty of people out there that are going to be defiant, not wear a mask. And I think just by that alone, along with just the way that half the country's divided on this, I just don't see how it's going to play out where you get everyone on board to do this, even for the sake of sports, because there's some people that are throwing sports away right now because of all this. I don't know. I want to see sports. I would love to see fall sports happen. I'm excited for the fall football season, especially for the Falcons this upcoming year. But I don't know. I lean on the pessimistic side of this, that I'm just worried it's like it's only a matter of time, or we're only going to get through so much before it's like you pull the rug from under us, because it's like we're powerless in this situation. I think no matter how much they tell us what to do, it's still them that's going to control that.
We are going to step away from COVID talk for a little bit, thank God. We're going to talk a little bit about Thursday and Friday, tomorrow and Friday being the opening day. Are you going to be celebrating baseball? Is this something to celebrate, or is there going to be more caution than anything as we get ready to open up the baseball season and also the NBA seasons? We're going to talk about Houston. We have a problem. A interesting quote that was recorded on Twitter. We'll introduce you to that in just a moment. We were going to talk about Pirates fans cheering for the Blue Jays, but we don't have to talk about that anymore, apparently. And we will talk about the best uniform in sports. All that and more coming up on the YSN Power Hour. Stay with us.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
And welcome back to the YSN Power Hour. DJ Oakley with you, as well as Ty Bartell, Quinn Pushkar, Jeff Bezos. Oh my gosh, what did else happen? Thanks, Quinn. That was necessary.
Yeah, you're good, Quinn.
Eric Bailey, and then of course McNuggies himself, Mikey.
We lost
McKenzie.
Paul.
Yeah, Paul is gone. He's going to be umpiring, so he stepped out, but not.
Oh, he's an umpire?
Yeah, he's an umpire.
Oh, I hate to be those kids tonight. I'm sorry.
Why couldn't you bust his balls while he was on the show?
Quinn muted it. I was doing it really good before you. He was leaning back there. You look like a
Quinn, what the hell were you like? Why did you have to bring out my keys?
Well, I didn't want you to forget them, and I didn't think the commercial was going to be that
It's your show now, Quinn. You run it, man. Here you go. You're up.
I didn't know.
Quinn's doing the same thing I did a couple of weeks ago.
Jeez.
Yeah, you guys just, I mean, you take over the show. It's like martial law around here once you get past the half-hour mark. It's just, why? I can't go anywhere without my keys. I'm not at my house.
I didn't want you to forget them back there.
You couldn't have waited another 25 minutes.
No, I didn't think the commercial was that.
You are a stooge, dude.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Wow. Okay. Well, at least you got your best friend in the photo with you. So
I don't like
Yeah.
that.
Guys, let's talk about. You look at this. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be opening up Thursday, Friday. You talk about Major League Baseball. Quinn, you said tonight NBA starts. Are we celebrating?
Exhibitions.
Are we celebrating the beginning of what could be back to normalcy, or is everybody kind of sitting on pins and needles again, waiting for the other shoe to drop? Quinn, we'll start with you this time since you're in a hurry.
No, it's I mean, I'm excited. Everything's kind of coming back. I guess it's a starting point, so I don't mind it. It's good to get it started now to kind of see how everything goes, in my opinion.
Jeff?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to celebrate really hard tomorrow. The Yankees are playing. Let's just be honest. Yankees going to win the World Series. Let's not all down it here. And no one really cares about the NBA, Quinn. Sorry, but it's normalcy. It's back to normal.
You're a Yankee fan?
Big Yankee fan.
Okay.
You're not even going to get past the Rays in the playoffs, calling it now.
I've been hearing that the whole time on this YSN thing. That guy, a little crazy.
Yeah, the guy below us just don't listen.
Glassnow's winning Cy Young.
EB, please help us.
Yes and no. Normalcy, not really. I'm intrigued to see how it works. It's going to be weird. No fans in the stands. I guess you implement the background noise, which is cool. I was watching the Indians Pirates the other day, and I heard the little soccer ole ole ole, which was, I mean, it was interesting and kind of weird. And I mean, opening day for baseball, people used to call off work to go to opening day just to hang out and party. Now it's just sort of in a sense of there's something to watch and something to entertain. Yes. But in a sense of, is it normalcy? No. So what we're getting there, it's the year 2020, man. It's all weird. Doesn't matter how you dice it up. It's just going to be weird. So I'm glad basketball is back, even though I'm not the biggest professional sports watcher in the world, but it's something. So with everything being condensed down, everything matters as far as games go. So hopefully these players take that into accountability. But as far as, is it exciting? I guess yes, because for the past 4 months we haven't had anything. But outside of that, I'm more intrigued to see how it goes than not having anything at all.
Ty, when you look at this, are you going to celebrate it, or is it just treat you as a diversion from the everyday 2020 life we've been living for the last 7 months?
I see it more as a distraction than a return to normalcy. Honestly, I mean, good distraction though because it's something to watch. As far as like the opening day, it's not the same excitement as like your normal opening day where you feel that excitement for the oncoming days, and then when it comes, you have a 162 game season ahead of you. It is exciting in different ways though because 60 game season, I think it gives more teams a chance to really be in it for the long run because you don't have to deal with as many injuries now, and those powerhouse teams like the Yankees, you preluded to, they have a good chance at making it far. But I mean, you see other teams too that are usually first half of the season teams. They might be in running for playoffs now because you only have to get through 60 games. And I think it's going to be interesting. Not the same excitement as like a regular opening day, but it's a different type of excitement for sure.
Flay Stewart chiming in saying, I'll bet they'll cancel football. High school he's referring to. But he hopes not. So, I mean, that's interesting. Michael, talk to me. I mean, you're a huge baseball fan, a season ticket holder typically for the Pirates. It's going to be a little different opening day for you here in the next couple of days. Talk to me about your optimism, pessimism, how you're feeling.
I'm feeling optimistic because the protocols are in place the first three exhibition games for every team, and the protocols went well. No real positive tests, minimal positive tests in reality. I celebrated on Saturday for the first round of exhibition games. I'm going to celebrate again Thursday and Friday for the first couple of days of opening day. Definitely not a return to normalcy because there's no fans in the stands. I really like the crowd noise being pumped in. I think every stadium did a good job with that, but I'm really excited. I will be celebrating opening day this upcoming weekend.
I'm going to celebrate myself. I think it's going to be great to have sports. I mean, in our line of business, that's our livelihood. So we have to make sure that there's something going on because I think then we have something to look at and have a trickle-down effect. The same way that we did when everything started shutting down. We looked at professional sports to lead the way. They did. They shut down, and everything from there on shut down after them. Well, now it's the opposite effect. You see baseball, basketball, hopefully football comes back in some capacity. I mean, they just canceled all their preseason games. So now high school and college can look at them as the benchmark and say, okay, if they can play, so can we. Obviously, different circumstances. They don't have the healthcare providers in a lot of cases that the professionals do and the colleges do. But I think high school can look at this and say, well, if they can play, why can't we? There's a lot more people at their games than there are at ours, and I think you can break it down from there. So I will be celebrating the welcome back of sports naturally for many different reasons. But I'm excited to just have something to watch and something to base off, and hopefully it relieves some of the stress that people are feeling, and maybe we can learn to live with each other again. Something different to argue about rather than social divide. We can argue about whose team's going to win the AL East, like my Blue Jays, or the Bay or the Tampa Bay Rays. So hopefully, you notice I didn't say Yankees over there, Mr. Betos. So I'm just a little tip of the cap to Mr. Switka, who says the Rays are taking the East. I think he's doing that just to piss you off, but I stand.
He's a big Rays fan.
Is he really?
Yeah.
They have those?
Surprisingly.
Wow. I just thought there was guys named Ray that just were like, hey, that's my name, so I got to cheer for him. So interestingly enough, so this is where it gets real interesting because I really wish that Billy Mack was on the show because we've heard all of this and it's kind of been swept under the rug with all that was Houston Astros and the drum bang or the trash can banging and all that stuff that was going on.
The buzzer under Altuve's jersey.
Well, that's still yet to be proven, young grasshopper. So calm down with that.
There was a buzzer under his jersey.
Well, there's pictures out there with other players with the same buzzer under their jersey, like Bryce Harper, but nobody wants to point to that. So,
well, the Astros won a World Series cheating. Bryce Harper didn't.
Well, you can only have one World Series champion. So some of us are better cheaters than others, I guess.
The Yankees won it in 2017. Just wanted everyone to know that. Yankees won it that year.
No, they didn't.
They would have beat the Houston Astros if they didn't cheat.
Here we go.
They want to beat the Dodgers.
According to ESPN Los Angeles, this is a direct quote from Travis Rogers. The baseball code, which I almost never subscribe to because it's vindictive, stupid, counterproductive, and anti-fun. I'm here for this one when it's time to settle some scores, and it's coming then less than a week. I am excited because there is nothing like vengeful baseball to me. There's something to play for. You're playing for the opportunity. I mean, Jeff, you talk about that. The 2017 champions, the Yankees, they got something to play for. They got something to prove. They see something. They had their dinner stolen from them, and now you've got to play it. Hockey's allowed to police their own sport. This is how baseball does it. Rob Manfred, you've made enough errors during this ball game over the last 7 months. Why don't you just sit this one out, young man? So do you feel like it's an enjoyable experience to watch the Houston Astros get beat up a little bit? And do you think who's going to benefit? Is it going to be the teams that are plunking the Astros? Or do you think the Astros can come out the other side? Mike, let's start with you.
I'm going to love watching all the Astros players get hit. I loved watching Altuve and Springer get hit back-to-back in the A's exhibition game, and I can't wait to see it happen again. The only time I think I'm ever going to root for the Yankees is when they face them in the ALCS and Chapman plunks Altuve with a 101 fastball right high and inside. That one's going to be pretty fun to watch. But, I want to see all the Astros players get plunked at least one time every single series. They're going to get what they deserve.
EB, do you have any take on this?
Yeah, dude, vengeance in sports is great entertainment.
Yep.
Absolutely. Look, LeBron did it when he went over to Miami. Everyone hated on LeBron, but everyone tuned in. Everyone's gonna tune in to watch whoever the Houston Astros is playing, just to see what happens. The Patriots were always the bad guys, and when the Giants won, it just made it even better. So vengeance is gonna make a really weird year already even better. So I'm kind of excited to see what happens. And, look, if someone catches a 101 fastball in the shoulder, then, hey, you make the bed you sleep in, man. So deal with it.
You still get first base, though. Let's remember that. Let's
True.
go to the most interesting box up in the world for this. This ought to be dynamic. Jeff, let's start with you.
Well, I'm going to tune in all the time because, you cheated. Houston cheated. That's what comes down to it. And I love seeing them get hit. It would be a lot different if Houston would just before this coronavirus, before we shut down, they would have just owned up to it and manned up to it and not just beat around the bush. It would have been totally different. But I'm going to be intrigued. I can't wait them to play the Yankees. So
before we get to Quinn, I have a question for you, Jeff. Didn't the Yankees get caught red-handed too, cheating? So
okay, easy now. Easy. A little pitcher getting taken over there is not cheating. They didn't cheat. ESPN said they didn't cheat, so I believe ESPN.
Well, that's your first mistake right there, brother.
Yeah, absolutely.
Quinn, the
ESPN told me that Toronto was playing in PNC. We all know how that turned out.
Well,
that's just more reliable sources he can contact.
Hey, I infiltrated. We're good.
He did infiltrate. That's a video that I will keep on my phone forever. Quinn, I know you're not much for baseball. I think the world knows you're not much for baseball. We don't have to go down that road again. Talk to me about where you're at on this side of baseball, the vengeful side, the revenge, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, to answer the question, don't both teams technically win in this? I mean, you get to hit them, but then the Astros get a runner. So,
stealing my thunder, I'll take it.
Technically, they both win, I guess, in that regard. I would say the ones hitting them probably win a little bit more because you get revenge, like you said. But I guess to what point is the revenge going to go? I don't know. I would assume everybody's going to get hit at least once, but who knows? So yeah, that's about it.
Ty, your thoughts?
Well, I think that the Houston Asterix have taken over the Yankees as the most hated team in baseball right now. I'm going to love to see it. I think revenge games are some of the best to watch in baseball. And I think when you have that animosity between two teams is when you're going to get the really good baseball games. And I'm just curious on seeing on what the Astros as a whole are going to do this year, because I don't think you're going to see the offensive numbers that we've seen the past few years, because we've seen from that 2016 to 2017 jump how these same exact players on the Astros, how all their offensive statistics jumped, drastically jumped from 2016 to 2017 onwards. So we'll see how they are when they don't know what pitch is coming. And it'll be an interesting season to see how the offense plays out for the Astros.
I am very excited for different reasons. I'm on the Astros train. I want the Astros to be successful just so you can kind of stick it right up the of Yankee fans and fans that feel like they got cheated. So if I'm a manager and you're going to give me free bases, go ahead, man. Like I don't mind that at all. The biggest opportunity you have is to show exactly what Ty just said. Strike them out. If they don't know what pitch is coming, if that's your biggest beef, is that they knew what pitch was coming, they shouldn't know now. They're pretty much on lockdown, so you might as well go right at them and get the out. That's the biggest one. If you're going to put a 101 fastball in my ribs or in between my numbers, that's fine because I'm still collecting first base, and you've got 4 guys that can hit dingers right behind you. So I'd rather be down 1-0 than 2-0. So if he's going to hit a bomb off, if you're going to have Altuve go yard, I would rather it be a solo home run than Springer behind him and make it 2 runs. So I'm interested to see this. There's a lot of people that are against the Astros. Listen, there's cheating in baseball all over. I hate to tell people that. There's so much cheating that goes on. The Astros got caught. So did the Yankees, and so did many other teams, but it hasn't come out. Why? Because it would ruin baseball. It would ruin the game. So the Astros get their hands smacked. And notice they didn't get much of a penalty besides their draft picks. They weren't penalized from making the playoffs, which I thought if you're going to penalize somebody, that's how you do it because your money's in championships, not in draft picks. So interestingly enough, we're all on the same page. We want to see the Astros get plunked, but for different reasons. I want to see them win ball games, win a championship, and prove everybody wrong. Michael Page chiming in with the Astros, same take. You know, they gladly take some hit by pitches, free bases, free runs. Cheaters or not, they're still going to be a good team, and I'm in that camp as well.
Let's see what they do without Garrett Cole. It was a big piece of that rotation that they lost. You can't underestimate the loss of him now that he's got pitching coaches that actually understand his type of pitcher, the type of pitcher Garrett Cole is.
Did they win a championship with Garrett Cole?
No.
Didn't think so.
They made one in 2019 with him.
I'm starting to hate sitting next to Jeff and the Yankee fans.
Yo, we're the greatest fans in the world.
Whatever.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Michael's got something to say about this. Go ahead, McNuggets.
No, I don't. Nope. Not going to say it. Because Quinn will agree with me on this one. Fans of winning teams are not the best fans in the universe.
No, they're assholes.
I will admit, Steelers fans are not the best fans in the universe. I want to say they are, but they're not. Teams of the losing teams are the best fans in the universe because they're the diehards that stay around.
Please don't say that. Oh, you just stepped in a bucket, dude. Oh, Michael, what did you just do?
Thank you.
I said that.
I'm going to stick around if the Yankees go 0-60 this year. I'm going to stick around.
They
Okay.
We have the 13th highest payroll in the MLB this year, Quinn.
Whatever.
You're welcome.
I can't believe you just said that, Michael. We should end the show right now before anybody catches what you said.
Big fan of
Let's do
Nuggets
it.
today.
Yeah,
Let's
I know.
do it.
You're on the. Oh gosh.
But no, what's the problem you have with me on that, DJ? I want to.
Let's
Quinn,
not.
What's the problem?
Let's continue.
What's your problem?
Quinn.
I'm just going to sit
I don't
back.
have problems with Michael today.
Michael, repeat what you just said, and then Quinn, tell him exactly what was going through my mind when you said it.
Yeah.
I said that the fans of winning teams are not necessarily the greatest fans in the universe. The best fans you will find are some of the fans of the losing teams that die hard and stay around when you lose. I'm not saying those are Browns fans per se, okay?
That was a
I'm
direct.
saying they're the fans that sit there and take it and not get unnecessary optimism. They're the fans that sit there and just wait for their team to be
Michael,
good.
if you're an artist, let's put it this way.
Okay.
If you're an artist at Cedar Point, you just literally drew a caricature of the Cleveland Browns with that statement. And all those Cleveland Browns fans. You absolutely did.
All I'm going to say
I was meaning to draw a character of
Earlier-
fans of teams that suck and don't try to give unnecessary optimism like Quinn does with the Browns. The Browns think it's their year every year and then they get disappointed. That's not some of the greatest fans in the universe. I just said that. Browns are not the greatest fans. Fans are not the greatest fans in the universe. The Lions fans are the ones that I'm trying to tap at here because they stick around when they go 0-16 in 2008, and then they don't go out and get guys. They stick with Matt Stafford at quarterback when he gets hurt.
Lions fans, the same ones that don't show up for the games.
Yeah.
They got some fans that show up. The season ticket holders, I like those. My uncle's a Lions fan, and I'm all right with him.
Oh boy. Oh, okay.
I'm just saying I don't like fans that are not of fans that are of the great teams unless they're the teams that I root for in the
Well, you
Pittsburgh
just took a
Steelers,
page
right?
out of the Quinn Pushkar playbook with you said something, you drank, and then you put it back down. It was straight out of the Pushkar playbook. So this is interesting. And you can see our fans are chiming in. This hole is getting deeper and deeper with every word, and everybody's seeing you, Michael, just fall right into that bucket. Like
Yeah, love
it's
it.
a well that doesn't like. You ever see that meme or that GIF that you just keep falling and there's no bottom to the well? That is where you're at. You are in the I don't even know what the space time continuum right now, and you're
Let's act like I said nothing. Okay, let's just act like I said nothing and said Yankees
You
fans
can't
are the
take
greatest
it
fans in the
back.
universe.
No,
Let's
you
just
can't
leave it
go
at
back
that.
now.
No.
Don't
leave
go
it at
back
that.
now. Stay with your word.
What I don't understand is the comment on if the Browns fans aren't the best just because that they went out after going 0-16 to get better, but the Lions fans stuck with Stafford. So if you go 0-16, well, you don't want us to
Okay.
draft
Let's
anyone.
stop
You just
talking.
wanna-
Let's stop talking. I was in the wrong here. All right, I'm in the wrong.
Yep, we got
I'm in
you,
the wrong.
Michael.
Let's move on. I was wrong.
There is a Flay Stewart chiming in. He wants to know what we think about mandatory masks out in public starting at 6 p.m. tomorrow and how it will affect sports. Guys, do you think there's a direct effect on sports? I know naturally, from our standpoint, our announcers now have to wear masks at least into the booth. And I'm going to make sure that, we go through all the precautions as well, temperature checks and things of that nature. But Richie will have to go into the booth at least with a mask on. And then once he's in there, I'm hoping we can have the mask removed. Otherwise, you're gonna hear a lot like this. So it's going to be interesting. But how would this affect sports if it's a mandate? And especially in baseball, is everybody going to have to wear a mask? Like you look at the third base coach, the first base coach, the umpires, the catcher. What are we going to do here? What's the direct effect that you guys immediately think of? Ty, we'll start with you.
I don't know if there's going to be a huge direct effect. I'd like to see the baseball. They just have those plastic coverings over their helmet, like they're. But no. Actually, I don't think that there's going to be that much of a difference, especially if there's not going to be fans and there's not going to be a lot of interaction between it. Especially, at least with professional sports,
Yeah.
I should say. As far as your local and high school sports, you might have to see. Certain things, certain sports, I feel like you can get away with wearing a mask more. The baseballs and maybe the golfs. I don't know as much as the footballs. When you're with football, basketball, when you're doing that high intensity, you're running a lot, and you're gonna need you need breathe. You need to breathe. You need fresh oxygen. I think a mask would prohibit that. So it's going to be interesting in that aspect. I don't see this particular one changing how sports are going to play out as much as other things that they could say that could pull sports out from under us. But I don't think the mask mandate's going to affect it that much.
Michael, here's your chance to redeem yourself and have everybody forget what you just said.
All right. So you saw, I'm guessing most of you guys saw the exhibition games. Most of the first base coaches, all the umpires, by the second inning at the latest, they all had their masks on. They had, I forget what it's called, the one you have around your neck that you can pull down and pull back
Gator.
up.
Yep.
Gator. A lot of the players had their gaiters on. I remember Gerard Dyson for the entire first exhibition game. I didn't see him take his gaiter off. A lot of the players are already wearing their masks on the base path. They have to wear them in the dugouts. The umpires and coaches on the base coaches are wearing them. So they're already starting it in the MLB, and nobody seems to have a direct effect to that. So I don't see it having a direct effect to the sport of baseball when it comes to wearing masks as a base coach or on the bases, things of that nature.
Jeff, your take.
Well, I don't think the umpires have to wear it because they have a mask on. Because of the mask.
The home plate umpire has the mask on. Yeah.
But I don't. You're going to take the safety precautions. If someone wants to run on with when they're running the bases, go right ahead. If the coaches wear it, good, because they're close to the kids and stuff like that. But I don't think it affects the sport that much.
EB.
I think it breaks down per sport. Like baseball, I think you're going to see it a lot more. I think at the local level, you'll start to see like coaches and players no mask because, especially in basketball, I can see it in football where there's a lot of conversation. If you sit there and you try to yell or talk in a mask, it's absolutely terrible, and you can't breathe. You can't really do anything now. Baseball, I'm assuming your base coaches, everything it's really not that big of a deal. If you're going to look at fans, I mean, we just did this in Indiana. All the fans had to wear masks, and really no one had a problem with it. And you have a couple people, they get in there, they take it off, or they wear the gaiters, they pull it down to talk, pull it back up when you're not. It's just become the new narrative for everything. So I think some of it will change per sport. Baseball, you'll probably see a lot more mask. Obviously, basketball or football, where there's a lot more running, you can't make players wear a mask when it comes to that. Or I don't think the coaches, maybe a couple of coaches, but if it's for the fans, then yeah, it's probably going to be the new norm, at least for this fall. And then players, it'll be optional.
Interesting enough, guys. I mean, let's get to our question of the day now. Change gears a little bit. Does anybody have a best uniform in all of sports? You only get to pick one, and it's your go-to. Michael, I'm just
Don't
gonna
start
guess.
with me. Please do not start with me. I don't know what I'm going. I don't know what I'm going with yet. I got to think
right.
about this one.
All right, we'll step aside. Quinn, you didn't get to answer the last question. We talked about uniforms already. Let's go with it.
I really hate saying this with a passion because he's staring right at me. But I have to say the Yankee pinstripes. It's just iconic. It's classic. It looks fantastic. It's the best. I can't think of anything better. And then I got to give a second one for another thing staring at me, and it's the one right over my shoulder. That uniform is just
Chicago Bulls home jersey.
It just looks great, and it's only that one. The new ones stink. That one, 90s Bulls home, fantastic.
Jeff Bezos, your take.
I would have to go with the Oregon Ducks. They have
Which one?
Yeah, which one?
All
got
of
like
them.
400 of them.
That's what I'm saying. They have the best uniforms out of any sport.
Oh gosh.
They have the best uniform variation. I would say
Oh,
that.
Every game.
Yeah, because the dude that owns Nike
Yes, went to Oregon.
went to Oregon. Yeah.
Headquarters are in Eugene. Yeah.
Yep.
Good gosh. Ty, please save us.
I'm not a fan of this team at all. But the Seahawks unis, the navy blue and I think the neon green with it, I think are actually a really cool combination of colors for a team. I think it's just really dynamic and it's really different. It sets them apart from a lot of other teams in the NFL.
Ty didn't save us.
No, he didn't save us. EB, please help.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go UNC Tar Heels, dude. I'm a UNC fan, so obviously I'm always gonna be a fan of them. You get the Jordan, you get the baby blue, you get the whites. You have the checkered down the leg. I mean, if I had to pick a secondary one, it would probably be the old school Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, the creamsicles.
Yes.
I like it. All right. EB's got us back on track. Michael, come on.
Based off of iconic jerseys, I know I might get a little hate of this. The gold Lakers jerseys, I like those. They're all right. They're iconic more than they're actually great in uniform. But this is going to be a little bit of bias. I am in love with the gray Ohio State unis that they wore for the Penn State game. I'm in love with them. I know I probably just ruined the rest of the show.
Those aren't bad. I'll give you that. Those aren't bad.
It's straight bias, but I love those gray jerseys from Ohio State.
I could get in with what Michael was saying about the Lakers. I mean, it's one of those uniforms. It's like the Yankees, like the Red Sox, the Celtics, Lakers. They've lasted decades, and they look the same. It's just.
And that's kind of where I'm going. My favorite, and I have no affiliation to this team whatsoever, the LA Dodgers with the clean white uniforms with the blue, with the red number, which is really interesting, and then the blue on the back. So the red really pops off of it. It's old school. You look at Jackie Robinson. You look at all the players that are great that ran through their organization, and it's just, I mean, it's so like that when that team shows up, it's the Los Angeles Dodgers, and there's nothing like it. So I'm with some of you on the same page. Some of you are
I'm surprised you didn't say the Bumblebee uniforms from the Steelers. 70.
Hey,
those are the worst.
I don't hate them. I don't hate them at all.
I'm a Steelers fan, and I'm so glad we stopped wearing those.
I'm not. See, I like those. And I'm not in love with them, but I thought they were different. Nobody else has a jersey like it, so they were self-identifying.
Thank God.
There's a lot of teams that have hideous jerseys.
Like the Ohio State Buckeyes, by the way.
Oh, shut up.
Here we go. And that's going to do it for our show today. Actually, quickly, here, let's challenge everybody with a G. Burbank Farms, what's your beef? One word beef. So you can only say one word. Let's put a twist on it. Since, Michael, you didn't start off last one, you're leading off for us on this one.
Pennsylvania.
Well played. Well played. Jeff, you're up.
Baseball.
Quinn,
Yeah, he stole mine. Dewan.
Ty,
Sports.
EB,
Yankees.
and I'm going with Quinn. That is your G. Burbick Farms. What's your beef? That's going to do it for our show today. Tune in tomorrow for the Power Hour Thursday edition. It will be from a special location because it's prior to 6 o'clock, so we'll still be able to see our beautiful faces beyond the mats that we'll have. We'll reveal that tomorrow. So, guys, thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you doing that. We also appreciate the guys for taking part. And again, that's your Thursday edition. Thanks to our sponsors. Say so long, everybody.